chicken, brown cow.
Welcome to the Brown Chicken, Brown Cow Show. I am Miss Laura, and I'm here with my co-host, this guy. That's what we're calling him today.
Hi, I'm this guy.
Yeah. We are your favorite, I hope, body, gender, and sex positive adult education show.
That's a mouthful.
I know, I made it through. So what's your real name?
I'm Monkey.
Oh, I forgot.
I hope not.
So what's our topic? We're doing something very important this month.
Well, it's Sex Worker Month.
Right. Yeah. Sex Worker Month. We're pretty excited. So we are talking about all topics sex worker and all aspects of that. Mm-hmm. And what have we talked about so far? This is our second show, so we've introed some of those topics.
This is pretty much our first show.
Yeah. I hope you guys are excited.
I'm excited because today we have Q Wilson with us today.
Oh, that's a fabulous wave. I'm going to take some lessons from that.
Yeah, it's the wrist to wrist, elbow, elbow, clutch. The pearls is the final part.
This works, right?
Never higher than your tiara or crown. That's
Lower.
the important part. That's why it's here.
And now I'm in love. Oh, let me grab my pearls. It's wonderful.
I don't think you're wearing your pearls today.
I'm not. Anyway, Q, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Hi. I have the brain of a 12-year-old boy, so I'm often laughing at things in my head. Things I like to tell people about myself. I am born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina. I moved to the Bay Area of California in 2010. I started in sex work prior to that in 2008, also in the Bay Area. I'll get back to that. I've been doing sex education, gender education, sexuality education since it's been a while, about almost 20 years now, 2 decades worth of education and training. So I'm a certified sex educator. I am a sex worker. Particularly, I am I don't want to say porn star. I appear in adult films of a queer variety. Because I don't think I'm a star. I don't think I'm a porn star, but I do pornography. I love talking about sex work and pornography and the connections between my life and that. Also, a really huge part of my sex work and getting comfortable with my body and who I am was my entry into the leather community. So I've been part of the leather community for almost 2 decades now. And being in that sort of space sort of helped facilitate the growth of me as an educator and a porn person.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So we're talking about pornography today?
You wince. Tell me more.
Tell me more. So I will admit, I've watched porn 3 times in my entire life. I know, it's sad, right?
Yes.
Because I'm not even that young. It just hasn't happened. So tell me about porn and your experience with it.
It's one of the classes I actually teach. I have a new class that I started. I was like, wow, I found out that lots of people haven't really watched a whole lot of pornography, and they don't know a whole lot that's out there. And back in the day, I stumbled across my stepdad's porn magazines, and there were 70s, 80s versions of porn. And if you knew anything of porn, that's the classic where brown chicken, brown cow might have come from.
Exactly.
Brown chicken, brown. Yeah, that sort of thing. That's what I saw, but nothing looked like me. So fast forward, after I went international Miss Boot Black, a friend of mine who was also a lover was having a shoot with Crash Pad. And their partner couldn't make it, and they were like, "You're coming out. Do you mind doing this with me?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. I don't mind." And it was an amazing experience. The crew at Crash Pad, and that's crashpadseries.com. Shine Louise Houston, who's an amazing, amazing human, and the entire staff that works there. The whole point is to show authentic queer sex in the way that you have sex with the people that you choose. So you don't choose your scene partner. They don't choose your scene partner. You do. Whatever your thing is, you come in, you say, we want to do something where we're wearing unicorn hoods and masks and horses and, not real horses, horse masks, to be clear. We're queer, not that. So they're just there to facilitate all of that. You have 2 cameras in the room and 1 still photographer. They do like headshots and all this other stuff while you're beforehand. It's like a 3-hour process, and basically you're having sex with your friends and your lovers that you were already gonna have sex with anyway. They're hot, it's a hot thing, and you get paid for it.
That sounds like a win-win-win
It is, and that's kind of like why I like to do it. Well, there's some other reasons too.
So is that kind of atypical in the porn industry, to kind of get to pick what you do and the partners that you have?
Here's the beauty of queer porn versus mainstream porn. I used to work for a mainstream porn company, online distribution, and part of my job was to watch porn.
Oh, the horror.
Oh, the horror. I watched a lot of porn in that time. I learned how to fuck using a strap-on by watching gay male porn. So yay for that. But in all the porn I saw, I didn't see anyone that looked like me or my lovers doing things that we would actually do. It was more anything that was a person of color, it was a bit more fetishized. There were definitely, if it was a person of size, definitely fetishized and not showing a true erotic nature of something like that. So having the opportunity to work with Crash Pad, which the whole thing is to show hot people doing hot things, and putting that out there for other people to have access to, was amazing. And that's why I still do it, is because I had that full circle moment. I was at an event and these 2 lovely young women come running up to me and they're like, "You're cute!" And I'm like, "Yes." Because my default mode, anyone will tell you, is panic. Call my name, I'm like, "What?" So he run up to me, "You're cute!" "Yes." I don't know. I wasn't in that bathroom stall. So they come up to me and they're like, "You're cute." I'm like, "Yes." They're like, "We went to our first basement party, underground party in Brooklyn, and there was like POC and queer, and they had porn on the wall, and it was you." And I was like, these were 2 young POC, female identified folks who were like, the thing that I wanted to do, it did. And they were super excited to have something that resembled what they do and how they do things, and it made them feel validated as humans and as erotic beings without being through the gaze of somebody that they didn't want.
Yeah.
Your work with Crash Pad and the work that you're talking about, specifically identifying the people that, finding the people that in porn or in the element that you're into, that you see yourself in it is amazing. And you also mentioned that you learned how to use a strap-on watching gay porn, but is that typical? Is that normal? Yeah, because we see a lot of porn, right?
There's a generation thing that happened. I'm older than I look. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm older than I look. And so with the gap, around the time that I was working at a porn company, distribution-wise, Crash Pad had started, it was like its first full years, 2 years into it. So now Crash Pad is a bit more known. So people who are queer, who are trans, who are looking for something different, now know to go Crash Pad or any other sort of sites like that. There's a company out of Australia that does stuff. There's some Canadian-based folks that do stuff, and all of this stuff is done with an eye towards true erotics, nature, authenticity, and equity in things. Because in mainstream porn, you don't get to choose those sorts of things for yourself. They want a blonde, big boobs, tiny waist human, and they want this dude with brown hair and a big dick. And these are the acts they want to happen in the course of this pizza delivery scene. So you don't really get a say-so in it. And unfortunately, one of the imbalances it's coming to light with everything on pay inequity is that men get paid more and women get paid more determined on the acts they do. The more quote-unquote degrading mainstream moral people would consider the act, the more they get paid. But the other side of that is, like, if you are small, big boobed, and can wear braid ponytails, and you can be in a babysitter's club, once you have sex with a black guy, if you're white, then you can't go back to that because you're now ruined for that image. Once you do interracial, once you do anal, once you do any of the other things, you can only stick to that or go to something even more adventurous, whether that's something you want to do or not. Whereas what I do and the company I work with primarily, what you want to do is what you want to do. They're just there to record it, and safety is important as far as like barriers and being aware of STI things. They have a spiel that they go through about all of the things. But yeah, you don't have as much say-so as I understand it, and having gone to a lot of porn conventions, in how that works. You are just you're just an actress or an actor, and they give you a scene and the acts, and that's what they want. If you're going to get paid, that's what you have to do.
Wow.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. So I want to get to another topic that you had wanted to talk about on the air as well. And I think you made some awesome points, and everybody should go check out Crash Pad because that sounds awesome. But we wanted to talk a little bit about the kind of some of the confusion about sex trafficking and sex workers.
What I see a lot of, and I know that there's a lot of legislation that's been happening in California particularly, people who have good intent, and I support them in that good intent, in helping what they're saying are sex workers. What I believe the majority of people are conflating is sex work by choice with sex and or human trafficking. Those things are very, very different. I choose to be a sex worker. I have other things I can do. I have a degree. Many of the other people I know who choose to be sex workers do this because we have, no one should be having bad sex. It is, it's too late in the world to be having bad sex. So we want to encourage people, have good sex, be attentive, and show ways to normalize things like barrier methods and things like that. What happens when they start making legislation is they say sex workers, and what they're talking about is sex trafficking, and that's people who have been forced into sex work by either they've been kidnapped and put into that position, or they have a pimp who has recruited them and now they don't have a way out. Those are sex trafficked people. That's human trafficking as well. I think when we're talking about that, when we're talking about legislating and making things safer for sex workers, looking at where people do sex work is another big thing, and what type of sex work. What has happened a lot is that they've cut down on a lot of the electronic places that sex workers could communicate with each other about bad johns, bad dates, talk about or warn each other. They've shut those spaces down. They keep eliminating them more and more. So those folks who weren't doing street level survival sex work, and that is doing sex work to support yourself for a living in a situation where you are either using drugs or you are homeless and you just need to eat. So you use sex work as a way to pay your bills, just like anyone else would. It's a job. It may not be the job that you choose at that particular point, but just remembering that people are the people who are sex workers are different than those who are trafficked. And when we're talking about sex worker, if we're talking trafficking, I would like to see a broader sex trafficking and human trafficking, because we don't talk about the people who are brought from other places here to work. And that's an interesting thing that we kind of just gloss over. Sex trafficking, sex workers, it's far more juicy and titillating, and actually it's less of a concern than the human trafficking aspect, in my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think I could talk to you more about this.
We could talk for hours.
Yeah. But we want to get to other things. And if you're just tuning in with us this week, you're going to have to save a couple days. Come back on April 9th when we get to hear more about Q Wilson's work on O.School.
Good job.
Thank you. I got it right this time.
O.School.
O.School.
So check us out on all the social medias. Give us some likes. Review us. Obviously, you're on YouTube. You should subscribe so you can see our next segment with Q.
Click the button right here.
You know, they're still clicking. It's so much is happening. Don't forget, if you want to support us in doing some good work here, check us out on patreon.com/BCBC podcast.
Or just go, you can also find
donate.
all of this information on www.bcbcpodcast.com.
www.
Yeah.
Yes.
I get made fun of for calling it dubs.
Definitely go there. Check
Anyway.
us out. And tune in next time, April 9th. We'll see you then.
Bye.